Spotlight.
This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan 2025, Empowering Grassroots Governance for Viksit Bharat at 2047. The participants are Vinay Kumar, political analyst, and Niharika Bhuvania, anchor.
India is a land of diversity, and the tribal community forms a vital part of that diversity. I'd want you to remember that because today's spotlight happens to be around the National Conclave on Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan organized today at Vigyan Bhavan in New Delhi. It indeed marked a defining moment in India's journey towards responsive, citizen-led governance. Good evening, you're with me, Niharika, on Spotlight. And before we go further, let's quickly welcome our guest this evening, Mr. Vinay Kumar, political analyst. Vinay, thank you so much for joining us on Spotlight today.
Good evening, Niharika.
At first, what the Honorable President has said on the occasion of this conclave.
इस अवसर पर मैं केंद्रीय जनजातीय कार्य मंत्री, उनकी पूरी टीम और अन्य मिनिस्ट्रीज की भी मैं सराहना करती हूँ, जिन्होंने आदि कर्मयोगी कार्यक्रम में अत्यंत सराहनीय काम किए हैं और आज ही उनको पुरस्कृत भी किया गया है। आदि कर्मयोगी अभियान इस परिवर्तनकारी सोच के साथ शुरू किया गया है कि प्रत्येक आदिवासी गांव आत्मनिर्भर और स्वाभिमानी बने। इस अभियान के माध्यम से ये सुनिश्चित करना है कि राष्ट्र के विकास की यात्रा में आदिवासी समुदाय की भी भागीदारी हो और विकास का लाभ भी सभी आदिवासी क्षेत्रों और लोगों तक पहुंचे।
Vinay, I'd now like your views on this. So, this is the first time that the National Conclave on Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan has been organized on a national scale. And it's a part of the Janjatiya Gaurav Varsh. So, can you tell us a little about the conclave and how this seems to be a step towards equitable development for India?
Niharika, as Honorable President Draupadi Murmu was saying in her address, that this reflects the government's initiative and efforts to take grassroots governance down to the village level. And it is completely devoted to our country's large tribal population. And I think this is very important that this program, which aims to become a participatory program and transform through this participatory transformation, where last person in the line becomes the first agent of change. That is what she was addressing about. And this national conclave being held in the national capital itself endows it with a lot of significance. If we see Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan, this Janjatiya Varsh started from 15th November 24 and it will continue till 15th November 25. And from July 2025, when the government started laying stress on this Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan, which covers nearly 86,500 villages and aims to put in place about 10,50,000 Adi Karmayogis who will be agents of change. This is a tribal action framework program which aims to take governance to the tribals in far-flung villages. And significantly, Prime Minister inaugurated on 17 September in Dhar district of Madhya Pradesh, where he also laid stress on this last mile scheme implementation and reimagining governance at the grassroots level.
So the National Conclave also represents a unified national effort to institutionalize responsive and inclusive governance. And the Tribal Village Vision 2030 seems to be a key highlight of this conclave. There is going to be focus on policy inputs, implementation frameworks, and project execution strategies. Why don't we talk about that in a little bit more detail?
As you said, this is based on Village Vision 2030 framework, where Adi Karmayogi Abhiyan envisages that each village prepares its own 5-year action plan and aims to prepare about 20 lakh change leaders in 1 lakh villages. And this participatory transformation, as we said, that the last person in the line becomes first agent of change. If we see there is multiplicity of authorities and departments in government, instead of becoming agents of development, they become sometimes roadblocks. And a citizen is running between one department to another department. The files are being taken from one to another. And this multiplicity of departments and this governance model, this particular abhiyan or campaign, it brings together, it converges all these programs. And this convergence between multiple government schemes like PM Janman, Dharti Aba, Jal Jeevan Mission, Skill India, Health and Nutrition, Leadership and Accountability, and taking them to grassroots planning so that there is a unified kind of planning which will take this citizen-centric governance to the village level. And we have our tribal population scheduled tribe population is about 8.6% of the total population of our country. And scheduled tribes notified under Article 342 of the Constitution, about 730 and 740 in that range. And the total population is about 11 crores. So that's a huge challenge, I think, for any government to put in place this kind of grassroots governance. But a beginning has been made, and slowly, I think, within a couple of years, as the Ministry of Tribal Development goes ahead with implementing this program in tribal villages, I think it will evolve into a very dynamic kind of program at village level. And as such, if we see, this is world's largest tribal development program where it aims to bring grassroots leadership program under one umbrella. I think this can easily be said as a landmark initiative of this government.
And the Tribal Village Vision 2030 is also ensuring that every tribal household and every village is an active partner in India's journey towards Viksit Bharat by 2047. The President has made some remarks on this. Let's hear what she said.
आज हम उनके लिए स्वतंत्रता से सोचने को पड़ता है गवर्नमेंट को कि उनके लिए भी हम लोगों को सोचना है और उनको सिखाना है सोचने के लिए, खुद के लिए। आज बहुत सारे आदिवासी भाई बहन IAS IPS तो बन गए हैं, ये केवल गिने चुने, बाकी ट्राइबल भाई बहन वहीं पे ही रहते हैं, खुद से अपने जीविका अर्जन करते हैं, खुद से खाते पीते हैं, लेकिन मांगते नहीं। लेकिन गवर्नमेंट नहीं देते हैं, लेकिन किसी के पास पहुंच रहा है, किसी के पास नहीं। आज गवर्नमेंट उनको आवास योजना के तहत उनके लिए भी व्यवस्था किए हैं। गवर्नमेंट आज स्वतंत्रता से स्पेशली उनके लिए सोच रहे हैं, उनका घर होना चाहिए, उनके बच्चे स्कूल जाना चाहिए, उनके गांव पे रास्ता होना चाहिए, बिजली होना चाहिए, पानी होना चाहिए। स्वतंत्रता से हमको सोचना चाहिए और उनको सिखाना चाहिए, कुछ बोलना सीखे, खुद के लिए, खुद के समाज के लिए कुछ करना सीखे। हम लोगों को सहयोग करना होगा और उनको भी शामिल करना होगा इसी कर्मों में, और उसको सिखाना होगा कि हर रोज उनके लिए सोचना गवर्नमेंट का ही काम केवल नहीं है, खुद का भी काम है कि खुद के लिए सीखना और समाज के लिए सीखना चाहिए। आज इसीलिए गवर्नमेंट ने ये आदि कर्मयोगी योजना शुरुआत किए हैं। मुझे लगता है इसी से आज जो हम सपने देख रहे हैं 2047 तो देश को हम एक विकसित राष्ट्र बनाने के लिए उनका भी सहयोग होना चाहिए, क्योंकि आज 10 से 15 करोड़ आदिवासी जो पिछड़े हो गए उनको भी साथ में लेना चाहिए, और केवल साथ में लेना चाहिए नहीं, उनको भी सिखाना चाहिए, वो भी खुद आगे बढ़ना चाहिए।
I think the challenges that we spoke about right in the beginning. So every community has different needs when it comes to development, and the roadmap may be different for every community. And India being a land of such diversity, we have to look at development differently. So when it comes to the tribal community, what are the challenges that might come?
As the President said, strength of India, lies not in the power corridors of Delhi, but in the courage of its villages. And as the President was pointing out that sometimes these programs implemented at grassroots level, the fruits of development don't reach up to that level. So that is one challenge. Then you have challenge of resources. Then coordination, as we talked about, multiplicity of authorities and government departments and their convergence. That remains a big challenge. And then accountability, sustainability. So all these structures have been delineated to bring about accountability so that the government funds and government schemes don't go waste and somebody is held accountable. Then the sustainability of this program. Then the solution-centric approach, I think that is very necessary. That is also one of the challenge. And as we know that roads are not very well connected, there is lack of power. That is why Jan Jeevan mission has been integrated into this so that safe drinking water can be supplied to these villages. Then in this inclusive nature of program, citizens, NGOs, academic institutions, they can become volunteers and mentors in training, training these tribal leaders. And also lays a lot of stress on Adi Seva Kendras and developing youth leadership in tribal villages. And Karmayogi student chapter, there is a program in this where IITs, IIMs and AIMS have been also drafted into this program where tribal students can be sent for internship. So I think all this combined will present a very people-centric governance model at village and community levels. That is the main objective. co-creation of development plans, detailed action plans, and taking them to each village where they will be partners in chalking out development plans and seeing to it that these are implemented at village level. So these are some of the challenges which will remain. And as this program evolves and develops, progresses further, all these can be fine-tuned with the passage of time.
Of course, I think anything can be made perfect with time, but the point is to start because that is often the greatest challenge, starting. And I'm so glad that you brought in the points of the Adi Seva Kendra and the youth leadership, which is a part of this program. First, let's also talk about the Adi Seva Kendra, which is a single window citizen service center. How is that going to contribute to this initiative? And also, on what levels are we looking at in terms of youth leadership? So, are we going to involve college students? What exactly does it entail?
That is what I was saying, Karma Yogi student chapters, which will be attached to such prestigious and leading institutions like IITs, IIMs and AIMS. And as Honorable President herself, she comes from such a community where she said that, fruits of development don't reach these tribal villages and far-flung areas. And so many civil servants are not from tribal communities. Their representation is abysmally low. And in all, we have about 6,70,000 or 65,000 villages in India. And 1 lakh villages will see the implementation of this grassroots governance model, where the stress is also, as President mentioned, that tribal action framework is a very vital component of this program, which will involve each and every section of the tribal population in this development program. And she also pointed out that, there are 1,500 tribal groups which are facing the danger of extinction because of their, peculiar languages, peculiar customs and traditions. So the big challenge is to preserve their identities and to preserve their culture. That is also, apart from empowering tribal leadership for a developed India, and grassroots governance in these tribal villages. That is also a very pertinent point which the Honorable President pointed out, that these tribal groups which face the danger of extinction. I think that will be an uphill task for the Tribal Development Ministry and Ministry of Social Welfare and Culture to preserve their culture. That is how then I think they can feel an integral part of overall development of India, which the government is, aiming at by 2047, developed India. So in developed India, you can't leave these marginalized groups, these tribal groups, SCs and STs and weaker sections and poorer sections behind. If they are not taken on the path of development along with other citizens in cities and urban areas, they'll be left behind. That is what President said in this conclave. That itself marks a very, very important guiding light for the government to fine-tune its program further.
Absolutely, Vinay. Thank you so much for joining us on Spotlight today. I'm so glad that you brought in every aspect of this program, and I'm so glad you gave us those insights. It's always a pleasure being in conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Niharika.
You are listening to a discussion on Adi Karma Yogi Abhiyan 2025, Empowering Grassroots Governance for Viksit Bharat at 2047. The participants were Vinay Kumar, political analyst, and Niharika Bhuvania, anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 928-909-4044.
Spotlight.